This one. The vector tone one. Hang on. Did you guys see that one? The one with the halftones? Kayla?
I think so. I think I downloaded it.
Okay, but it's got a different loading. I mean, it's really the same, but it's a little bit different. And I was using it yesterday or the day before or something. And I realized that it's the same as the brushes, except, so it's all these. No, not that. These cool textures, but they're not brushes. This one, what the hell is that? So if we go here to Illustrator, and I want to make a texture or a halftone in here, I got to go not to my brushes, but to my, let's pull it over here a little bit, swatches. Here's my swatches. So let's pull this over. And I'm going to go open swatch library, other library, vector tone. B-E-C-T-O-R-T. And then here's the swatch libraries right here in D, and I'm going to go to the latest one and then go, and it's going to give me a new window here with all my tones, right? Now I'm on whatever they call it, line. So let's go back to here. So now I can start adding halftones to this, yeah? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
There's some really good textures in here.
Yeah.
Oh, that one. That's good.
Can you control how much, or is that going to be the what it's always going to be?
Sure, if you can adjust them. But I mean, I think that's why they have so many, like they have a couple of versions of each one that's more dense and then one that's less. Like that's less than that. Let's see if I don't think it changes when we go bigger. No. So these are designed, I'll show you guys how to do this probably next week. These are just designed as swatches. So they just sort of, let's try something here too. That's weird that that one's doing that. I don't know why it's doing that. God, every time I got to reload this damn swatch library. Oops, wrong one. I don't want that. I want to get all these back up here where they belong. I should be able to go. I don't know if I did it for class. Let's go to Window, Workspace, Reset Mic. Okay, put everything back. That's good. Now, might have got rid of my vector tone, but I don't know. So let's go to swatches. There it is. Yeah, I think it did. See, I want this separated out. I don't like that. Here's my swatches. Oh, there they are. Color, put that somewhere else. Pathfinder, I like everything on its own. Man, I should reset my sync. Now here's what's weird though. Oh, it's showing it's, okay, that's good. Yeah, that's weird. I don't know why it's doing that. Anyway, it's got a lot like this. That's a nice texture. Tight, looser, so on and so forth. Yeah? And this one, for some reason, where is it? Oh no, that's okay. Now I think it's okay. But I want to try something here. I don't know what's this going. I don't know if this is too small or what. That's weird. I don't know why it's doing that. I'll have to look at that. I don't think you can make it bigger, but I'm going to try something here for a second. I want to go to, I want to go to expand. Let's try that. You guys remember expand? And it says fill. That's, you guys remember expand, right?
Yeah.
Now what it should have done here.
Is there a difference between expand and expand appearance?
You know what's weird is that sometimes it gives me one or the other, and it seems to me like they basically do the same thing. I'll look that up because I'm not sure actually. So let's see if I can go. No, okay, hang on. So it hasn't. You can do this. Okay, hang on. That should be. There's a way I can do this where I can expand it and turn it back into an object. I'm not sure why it's not doing that. I'm kind of brain dead today though, so that might be why. I'll figure it out. Because I've done it before, I just can't remember it.
Wait, what did expand? What does expand do again?
Expand?
Yeah.
You can do a couple of things. It does what we talked about last week, where if I have a filter on something and it's holding the filter information.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I remember now.
If I want to get rid of that, I was just doing something over the weekend, and I couldn't do the next thing I wanted to do because it had a filter on it. And it was holding that information. It was like I can't do that. So then I converted it, I expanded it, and then it turned into a regular object, and then I could do what I wanted to do with it.
Okay, yeah, I remember now. Cool, thanks.
Some things will, some things negate other things, obviously, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense. So we're just loading those as swatches. It's the same process as brushes. You have that little flyout menu in brushes. You go over and you go load, other library. You find the library, you load it. Same thing as swatches. Except you go to the swatch palette, find the flyout menu, drop down, and load other library, and then load, in this case, swatches. Yeah. And also, so let's go through a few of these for a minute. God damn it, I'm getting so much email today. Have you guys heard anything about going on campus next term?
Nope. Just been hearing we're going to be going back, and then other moments we're not going back. So
did they just send an email that someone on campus got COVID?
People are going to get COVID, man. I'm over it. I want to go back on campus, man. And then, but I was in and I don't want this going beyond this room, but it's confirming something that I thought all along with this, where it's like, yeah, I'm trying to be as effective as I can online and all that stuff. That's great. But I want to be in the classroom. And I think there's a lot of people who half-ass everything and they just want to stay home. It's like, I don't have to really do my office hours. I don't really have to do all this other stuff. All I do is teach my classes, and I work like, I don't know, 10 hours a week. I find that infuriating. And then I was in a meeting, and then I heard, I think it was the dean or whatever said, hey, we're probably going to be back on campus in fall. And I'm like, right on, right? Me and Frank are like, right on. And then I get into the faculty meeting, all these people are attacking him, going, I don't know what he's thinking. We don't have HEPA filters and all this stuff. Okay, so number one, we start talking about putting in a filtration system into the building. You're talking about, what, $100,000, $70,000? It's not going to happen. Okay, so it's sort of throwing a roadblock there where if you start screaming about health and get the union involved, they'll try and stop getting back on campus, which and now I'm worried about it because I'm like, you guys are going to poison the well, because they've been talking about that we're going back on campus in fall, which I think we should. And I don't, you know what I mean? I want to go back on campus. So does Frank. I think most of the people who, you want to get back on campus. And a year of this, it's enough. You know what I mean? And we should have a lot of people vaccinated by then. I'm on the, I don't know when they'll call me, but I'm on the list for that. Get on the list for that if you guys aren't on it, because I have a feeling they're probably going to do that. They'll probably say, you can't go on campus unless you've been vaccinated, and fine, whatever with that. But I want to get back on campus, you know? So if there's anything, and I doubt if they would do it this way, but there's ever anything, and it's your opinion, obviously, but you know, if there's something that goes around about stuff, you know, respond to it and say, you know, you want to go back on campus. You know what I mean? If you do, I mean, if you don't, that's fine too. Okay. Laziness, Josh. Biggest enemy of accomplishing anything. Hang on. So I want to see the font. Wait, you just keep going with it. What do you think? Where'd you go?
Just realized I was muted. My bad. I'm trying to get the creases on the background. I don't think I'm
Getting the what?
I'm trying to draw the creases on the background. I don't think I'm getting it right.
When you say creases, you mean here?
No, I'm talking about the other ones. The ones that, right, you can't see. The lines, basically.
These?
No, the ones to the right.
Here.
That one,
Oh,
yes.
I see. Okay, number one, I think you're probably putting it sort of randomly. Did you look at any reference? What I look for when I look for reference, by the way, is not something I can just copy. Hang on. Yeah, here we go. Ah, wait a minute. This one doesn't get anything. All these walls I'm looking at, because I'm looking at padded walls. This is close. So if you see here what's actually, now it depends. It's just getting this sort of soft edge thing. Does that make sense?
Soft edge.
See it?
A little bit. I'm trying to get like close to the screen. I'm like, I see it. I see the texture. I don't know if they're creases.
But how it's working is it's, you know, this one is clean, right? And I like this actually. But one thing you might want to do, again, I don't know how this is built.
I fixed the layers.
Yeah, and by the way, I don't want you to think that those layers are wrong. It's just when I'm trying to go in and untangle it, you know, it doesn't mean you're wrong.
No, it upset me during the weekend. I'm like, where's this? Okay, I need to fix this.
Yeah, you'll learn as you get, all I'm trying to do is get in your head, like, as soon as you get comfortable with this and you understand everything, work as clean and smart as you can.
I'm still a little ticked off with the sub layers. Still.
Yeah, it took me a long time actually to work smart. And I think I told you guys I resisted it. I resisted it because my boss was telling me to do it. And I was like, fuck you, man. Like, stop telling me how to work, you know? And I didn't realize what he was doing, that he was going, dude, you need to make clean files so everybody else can deal with your files. That's what he was actually trying to do. And I was just being an asshole because I didn't get it. I was being all defensive. Okay, so let's go here. So one thing you could do here, okay, I'm just going to talk about this a little bit. So I want to see if I can grab this. I did, okay. Now I'm going to see if I can grab. Let's take, I'm going to walk, no, let's just do it this way. So how that one's working, we just looked at, is there's this wedge shape over here, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So I want to go in and grab, if you want to do it this way. Okay, so that's basically what it is, but like that, it looks like a hard button or something, right? So I'm going to make a clipping mask here. Ugh. want to make sure they didn't. Okay. Just so you guys know, like last week I got all screwed up because I got on this committee thing and I didn't really realize I did it. And then they kind of dragged their feet on it. And then all of a sudden I started getting emails like, hey, we're having a meeting. It's like 2 hours. Hey, we're doing this. Hey, you got to do this, 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 and this. So it kind of screwed me up last week. Okay, so let's look at this. So if we're looking at something like this, you can see how what I'm doing is the beginnings of this, correct? Mm-hmm. So one thing I can do is I can go, I want one soft edge like that. So I'm going to come in here and go, yeah, up to effect, blur, Gaussian blur, put on preview, and I can soften this edge up. That might be too much. Let's go a little less. And then I could take this. I could even use my, I don't know if I've gone over these yet. If not, I'll go over them right now. That's lined up. Make sure it's on the top. Unlock it again. And I'm just going to clipping mask this. But now you get a soft edge going into a harder edge. Does that make sense?
Yeah, specifically for the sides of the room.
Well, for these things. Right? Now they could do this too, but if they were doing this, they might be telling you might be telling me they're a little droopier. What I'm saying is even these probably. So let me see if I can grab one.
All the way down where it says BG, because most of that's just background.
I don't know where this is. Hang on. I'm just going to unlock everything. Oh, this is different. Okay. Let me see if I can grab this then. Let's grab this. So that's sort of your shadow, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the same thing here. If I grab this and I want to do what you're doing, then I'm probably going to go, and you could say it's a little looser. It's probably too close, but I'm just going to leave it. Then I'm going to do the same thing. Because it's probably not going to have a super hard edge, right? Yeah?
Yes.
So again, I'm going to preview this. It's too soft. And let's say I'm going to clipping mask this whole thing. And then I'm getting a softer edge for these things. You see what I mean? Because this is probably going to be a little hard or softer edge. It's fabric, right? And I could dial in that. That's probably not too bad. Okay, now are you talking about the ones that cut across this?
Yeah, like the right there in the front. In the background, sorry. Yeah.
Well, what's going to happen then? That would mean if it's getting a cross fold across it, that would probably mean that this is a little softer or a little less taut. Does that make sense? Let's go back. So what's going to happen then is you're going to go to then I might kind of go, okay, I'm going to lock this. If this was looser, there's tension points here, 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 and here, correct? Just like if I pull this, this is created because it's pulling away from something. This radiating fold is created, you know, and, or, you know, this kind of thing, that's a tension point, right? Or your knee, where you get that fold across your knee. The knee is a tension point, is pulling away from the tension point. So you always have to think where the tension point is, that kind of stuff, right? And then if I take, so then I might kind of go, maybe I'll pull it out. Oops. Maybe I'll pull it out of this corner a little bit because it's probably going to droop a little bit from that corner. Does that make sense? And that's a little too heavy. So I'd probably thin it out. And I don't want to show all these everywhere. I want to make decisions about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then maybe, you know, you might get a little bit, you know, like if it's like if you look at a I might be able to get a little bit of, but it has to have a logic to it. And then if it's really loose, I'm answering what you're asking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sometimes I don't know if I'm just rambling. There might be, like if it's really loose, there might even just be a fold like here. And I'd round this edge off. I wouldn't let it be too hard edged. Damn it. You know, if it was an old aging donut asylum, they might not have a lot of money for upkeep, right? Then I might attach it to this. And I'm being sloppy on it, but hopefully you're getting it. You know.
How do you clip?
How do I what?
How do you clip it?
Oh, I'm just taking this same shape right here. Whatever you use, you just have to put it on top and that shape will become your clipping mask, right?
Oh.
So I'm just using this one. I bring it to the top. I want to soften I'm going to soften this one up first, and let's see if we can do it this way. I'm going to do this one first. So let's see if we can just kind of play here for a second. Now make clipping mask. So now we got that, right? And now I'm going to go, okay, these are probably also a little softer edged. God damn it. Hang on. What's that? Is that locked? Oh, maybe it's locked. Okay, that's super weird. I can't grab that object. That's why. This will probably be a little softer, so let's go. It's too soft. Maybe there. And that's probably a little soft, but is that starting to make sense?
For the creases, yes.
What else?
Still confused with the clipping mask. Because what did you
Okay.
push for that?
Let's do this. Let's make, this is my thing that I want to clip, right? So let's go. Where do my swatches go? Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Got rid of my thing. Yeah, let's just put this in. That's weird. Oh, it's those swatches. I want. Screw it. Let's just use this. Okay, so let's say this is a shape I want to clip, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And then I want to go here and get a star tool just so we really see it. And I'm now the last object I make is going to be on top by default. So let's make this object a different color just so we see it. Okay. Now, if I make this if I make a new object to put under it, it's going to be on top of it. So let's say that this was the last object I made. A clipping mask won't work. It won't work, right? So what I got to do is go bring this person forward, go object, arrange, bring to front. So now it's on top. So all you got to remember is your clipping mask has to be the top thing, right? Now I'm going to select both of these objects because that's the two things I want to clip. Then I just go to object, clipping mask, make, and it clips out the bottom. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
So what I'm using it for is to get a hard edge on one side and a soft edge on the other side. You know, because the blur tool is going to want to blur the whole thing, and I don't want it all blurred. Okay. But this makes sense a little more on folds and things, correct?
Yeah, it would help on the sides too because they kind of look like tiles.
And, you know, and I have to dial these in a little bit. And another thing, if I want to take it further, I mean, there's going to be a little bit of a, let's lock this. You know, and I don't want to do this everywhere because it could become too much, but I could do a little bit of it. And maybe go, let's see which way it looks better. I could put a little maybe. I'm going to switch this. I'm going to get rid of the, whatever you call it. And I'm going to go maybe, let's see. I'm going to go to a fatter line. And I'm probably going to have to soften this line up too. And I also might kind of go really zoom in here because I don't want the ends to be square like that. I'm going to go to my width tool. Then I want to go, how much can I? Now I'm going to knock this down so it's not so, whatever. Hang on. That's a little better. Now, so you're starting to get that little bit of a core where it starts to turn. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's actually what I wanted.
Because what, you know, when you have drapery, it'll, you know, those folds, you know, when they're doing this, or even on here, you know, you can't see it. Like here, see where it's rolling over? Sometimes you'll get just a little bit of a core in there. It really turns it. And a lot of times people miss it. They just go lighter into the darker, or they roll it almost like a gradation. And it's like, well, sometimes there's just a little kiss of a core in there. Because what is this? What's that roll? It's a cylinder, right? You guys remember rendering cylinders, core, shadow, light, so on and so forth, right? Reflected light, all that crap. And then I could even go maybe. Are you regretting you asked me this now?
Not at all.
Because me likes to get in the weeds. I'm gonna go a little lighter on this. See if that'll work. Same drill. I'm gonna go in here and go a little fatter here, just a little bit. Taper it off over here maybe. You're not even really gonna see this, so it's all good. And then I'm gonna do the same drill. Maybe I'll go in here and soften it a little bit. Again, I don't want to overdo that. Maybe that's okay. And then, yeah, that's probably actually needs to. Follow that curve a little better. And I can start to build sort of a light, core, dark, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't need to do that everywhere. The only reason I'm showing you this is like if you want to start here, 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 and any of these moves along the way might be fine, right? Like if I go through and I start putting every fold in there, then I might have to switch my whole idea about the whole rest of the illustration because I'm like, okay, now you're starting to render the background. And the rest of this thing is very graphic, you know, so make sure they live together correctly, right?
Yeah,
What I like to do, go ahead.
I rarely use Gaussian blurs on the whole thing.
Well, that's good because you don't want to overdo blurring.
Yeah.
You only want to use these things where you need them. And now I'm looking at this and going, I think this one, I can knock it down a little bit. So I'm just going to go to transparency. Let's go up close on it again. And I'm going to knock down this opacity. Yeah, maybe there. So I don't really want it to screen. That's a little better. See how we're starting to get a little bit of a, you know, I might even go a little lighter on this one now too. On this core. I got to dial it in. Now, see, it's getting a little more and more fabric-y. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. You know, and then maybe we go, okay, so here's another thing we can do. I don't think I've talked about this. I gave you guys this one too. Authentic Screen Printers Toolkit. This has a lot of cool stuff in it. Look at this. Just a bunch of textures. By the way, you can easily make these yourself. Like take old photocopies and scan them, right? Look at this one. This is cool. Let's try this. Foam Brush 02. Let's put this over here. Foam Brush. Is that what that was? Hang on. So these are just, these aren't whatever you call them. But I want to talk about this a little bit. These are just textures. Let's try that one. Now, these are PNGs. So let's see if it'll let me do this. I don't think it will. No, it doesn't. Oops, I'm on the wrong thing. Hang on. Oh, it does. Cool. So you can do this with PNGs. So let's go and make this. So this is a raster image. It's a PNG. So it's not a vector file. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm going to do is come in here and grab the same color as this. And then I'm going to, so now it's the same color. And now I'm going to go to my transparency thing and go, which one of these will work as an overlay? That's not bad. That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool, a little too much. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through here and find one that looks right. Too much. Too much. Not enough. Of course, now I forgot which one worked. It's probably, even that's not bad, just for a subtle thing, right? Like if you want to go real subtle, so let's take this now again. Let's go, I'm going to take this square shape again. I'm going to put this over here. I'm going to line it up. Let's say it's there. Or there maybe. Now I'm going to put this just on top of the texture. Oops, I got to make sure it is on top. So I'm just going to go here and go Object, Arrange, Bring to Front, put it up on top. And I'm just going to grab the texture now, not everything else. And go Clipping Mask, Make. And now you're starting to get a little more of a texture on it. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Now, if I double click inside of that, I can just edit the inside. I can just edit the texture inside of the clipping mask. See how it isolated it? So now if I go, well, I kind of like the other one better, let's say. Like multiply. There's one in here I like. But let's try multiply. It's a little more, and then I might go, okay, well, I want to pull it down a little bit. Knock down the opacity a little. And that's not too bad. Does that make sense? Okay, so I didn't know that you could do this now with PNGs. You used to only be able to do it with the bitmap, so this is really good. So certain, and unless maybe they've changed it to all sorts of different files, I don't know. But like if you get a file in here and you drop it in and it's a raster image from like Photoshop or whatever, not a vector image, and it doesn't change color, then it's probably just a file that it won't do that with. It'll do it with bitmaps and now PNGs. And they might have expanded that out to a lot of other file formats. I don't know. But just so you know, if it doesn't do it, it's probably not accepting that file format. Does that make sense? So you can see how handy that can be?
Yes.
Now, another thing I could do, let's see, let's try this. Let's get rid of the clipping mask, release. Get rid of that. Now this can start creating a lot of, whatever you call it, memory. But let's say I don't want this to be a placed image. Then maybe I go over here. Let's put it on here. Because sometimes I'll do this. I might go here, Window, Image Trace, Preview. Just tell me it's going to be slow because it's a big file. Or it's very intricate. So what it's going to do is you have to make 1,000,000 points to create this. And then I'm going to go, I want to do it. Yeah, it's black and white. It's weird I can't see it. It's weird I can't see it. Hang on. It's on preview too. I'd also want to drop here and go ignore white. It's weird it's not showing me the thing. I'm just going to say okay. So I'm going to go up here and go expand. Yeah. Let's see what it did. I think it screwed it up actually. I'm not sure what it did. What I was going to say is sometimes I'll go in and I'll image trace the texture and just use it and turn it into a vector thing. Does that make sense? I don't know why it's not letting me do that. It might be because it's like on a transparent thing. That might be why.
Hey, Mike. Comment about the going back to the clipping mask with the texture.
Yeah.
Can you delete parts of the texture like you would if you did like outline stroke within that? Or is that a separate thing?
That's okay. This file that I'm using as a texture is a raster image, which means if I want to edit it, I really need to go into Photoshop.
Okay. Well, what about the case if it's not of a raster image? If it's just a texture that I have in a clipping mask and there's parts of it that I'm like, I like, but I want to delete this section.
Yes,
can I do that?
Yeah, you can do that if it's a vector thing. Mm-hmm. And you could just go in like maybe with your wide arrow tool and just select certain things and knock them out.
Okay.
Just hit delete and get rid of them, right? If it's a separate, if it's just a vector image, right? So if I created this texture, and I've done this a million times, maybe it doesn't do PNG. I don't think that's what it is, but I think it's because these files are transparent. Probably they're transparent. I bet that's why. So let's see something. Hang on. Let's get a really noticeable one like this. So let's go into Photoshop. Victor, am I answering your questions?
Yeah, you're also adding some stuff I didn't think about, like probably adding texture to the walls. I probably want to try to add texture to the donut as well.
Yeah. Okay, let's go. Let's make this. I don't know if it's a PNG thing. I'm just going to make this. Come on, that's weird.
What are you trying to make it into?
Yeah, it's weird. It's not giving me a JPEG. You know what I bet this is? Hang on. Let's go to mode. It's bitmap. That's why. Okay, so this is a bitmap file. Okay, so it usually needs to be a bitmap. Okay, so that's why I can't really alter it that much. So if I come in here, let's grab something else. Let's go. Trying to find something that's not totally crazy. Like, so remember that it needs to be a bitmap, which I thought it had changed, but it apparently hasn't. Let's just try this. Good enough, because this is small, so hopefully this won't be too bad. Oh, God damn it. This won't work. It won't download as a, or let's just screen grab it. This is going to be a really crappy texture because it's really small, but actually it might work to our advantage here. And where did it go? This is the danger of having such a screwed up desktop. Oh, here we go. Okay, so I'm going to pull this into Photoshop real quick. Just going to crop it. Now, if this wasn't white enough, I might balance it out so it's as close to black and white as I can get it. So let's pull this in. I'm just going to make it big because we're not really worried about quality for this. And then I'm going to go to image trace, make sure that I've got ignore white checked, and then preview. And then I got to dial in how much of this I can keep. Now, it's not going to get a very good image out of this because it's so low res. But you can get pretty good resolution out of it if you use a higher res image. I'm going to dial these in. And then I'm going to go, I've got ignore white. I'm going to go up to object, expand, object fill, yes. And now this is vector now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I could also go, let's say that I go, I hate it when it does that. I could go put this on top again. I'm going to make that. Now I'm going to go to object, compound path, make. Now, why did I do that?
That's to group it together, right?
So it's instead of being a bunch of little shapes, it's one shape, all one unit. Does that make sense? Because now I'm going to take my, and I'm just going to outline my type because I don't think it'll let me do this if it's regular type. So I'm under type, create outlines. Now it's an object. I want to make this a different color so I can see it. And maybe I'll just pull it like that. Let's see if it'll, this is really complex, so let's see if it'll do it. Oh, I probably have to do this too. I'm going to make this a compound path also. It's on top. And what it did now is it cut out, it punched out the texture. So it's not overlaid anymore. And now it's just an object, which is actually cool because it's now it's vector and it's all one unit and it's done. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it actually would help with the text as well.
Yeah. And so if I want to put this over this, it's just going to assume whatever's behind it, which is just kind of nice. And it's also, I'm not having place files in there. And then if I go, okay, so then if the client goes, well, I want to go this much bigger, well, the placed objects that are in Photoshop will pixelate, right? So I'm always trying to keep my files clean as I can. So, if, you know, purely vector if I can. That way, if I do need to go bigger or whatever, I can't go, oh, sorry, I can't go that big. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And all I used was this one, the second one right here on the Pathfinder. Right there, which punches the object out below. So I took the texture and I punched it out of my type. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's a big deep dive into that whole thing. Okay, so does that answer everything?
It does, yeah. Gonna work on the background and change up a little bit of the text. I'm pretty
look,
pretty happy with the donut.
Also look. Wait, let's get back to our original texture. Whatever the texture you use, which could be, you know, it could be out there. I don't care if you use a place texture, by the way, it's fine. It's not that it's a bad thing to do or anything. I'm super OCD about everything I do. I just am. So I think of all these stupid things that are actually probably not really that worth thinking about, really, to be honest. So maybe I got the same color. So that way I should be able to do an overlay and get a darker value. So I'm going to go to multiply. So I got a nice subtle value here. Maybe I'll just go blow this up to this corner to corner in the back, right there to the other corner. Then I'll go to that wacky tool here and go, oops, ugh, damn it, this is such a weird tool. Start to move it and then go option, command, whatever. And now I can put a texture here in perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
The mistake people make with this kind of thing is they go, you know, put a texture on here. And it's like, well, it's not following the form of the floor. You know what I mean? That's weird. It looks like something reflecting into the floor, right? And why is that? Why do they do that? Because they don't know the fundamentals. You know what I mean? They don't know the fundamentals. They don't understand perspective. They don't understand anything. You know what I mean? So mix all those fundamental things, drawing and painting and design and all that shit into your stuff, right? Okay. Does that answer all that?
It does, yes. Thank you.
Okay. I think I'll bounce around. Yeah, maybe not. So this one's in the printer's toolkit. There's some other cool stuff in here, like here's Chipboard. And by the way, all you got to do, you know what I used to do? I still do it once in a while, but I used to like take my camera, you know, I'd walk around with my camera and I'd see like, I'd look down and see a really cool texture. And I'd get kind of close to it and frame it, take a picture of it, pull it into Photoshop, turn it into a bitmap. And that's all these are. You know what I mean? It's nice that they've already created them and they're not that expensive, so it's fine. You can just create your own textures, man. You just take them and black and white them. You know, balance out the light to dark so you can get as dark and as light as you can, and then just create a bitmap, PNG bitmap, whatever. So this one has, you know, some really good textures in it. And then it also has foam roller, printer toner. So these are all things that you'll see in a print shop, you know, where they're rubbing. If you've ever taken print making, you'll see all this stuff. It's the type of textures you'll see when they're like rubbing off the brayers and all that kind of stuff. And then let's see, edge textures. Look at this one. That's nice. And then, well, this one, I don't even know if I've used that one yet. Stamp brushes. This is ways you can use it with the texture over your just simple vector images. And then there's some cool stuff in here. There's like coffee stains and stuff like that in here that are vector. Nice. Okay. Now, if you want a coffee stain, you don't have this. Go take a decent image of it. You can even do it on your phone because it's so big. And then take it in, image trace. That's all they did, really. Dial it in the way you like, and then don't shrink it until you scan or until you do your image trace. And then you can shrink it down. It'll be fine. Right? Or go and do what they're doing and go put out. I mean, look, there's a guy some cool illustrator guy. I can't remember who it was. Max Ulinicki or something. He has a weird name, but he started making brushes. Like he's the guy who does those Max Pack things. I think you guys know that.
Yeah.
And they were talking to him. He's some, you know, illustrator, right? He's had a career and everything. Started making those brushes. Started selling me. He goes, I make most of my money from brushes now. He goes, I don't take as many jobs as I used to and shit. He wasn't saying it flat out, but it's like I'm making a lot of money on these brushes. You know what I mean? He has probably no overhead doing that. He probably doesn't have a staff or anything. He sits there and he comes up with cool brushes and throws them out in the world, makes money off them. Okay, go do that. Figure that out. Okay, does that all make sense? Oh, this too. This is handy right here. Oops. T-shirt templates. This is a really handy thing to have. And then they've already laid out for you how you would send this to a client. You just put your Pantone colors in here. Here's your inside tag. Here's your image area. Boom, it's already done for you. Put your own logo on it, you're out, right? And by the way, like when I was younger or starting out or whatever, I'd be like, I'm not using that template. I'm doing my own. It's like, why? It's going to be that. It's going to be the same thing. Just use the template. Stupid. Your design is what matters, right? Look, a work order. Just adjust these things. Put your logo right here and then adjust these things so they make sense to your job, right? Does that make sense? Flat stock, blah, blah, blah. And make sure your logo looks that cool or cooler. All right, that's enough of that. That's enough of that, Josh. I'm so tired of it. Where's Emily?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Okay, what do you think?
I only made some minimal changes to the cup.
Okay, I'm good.
I think you told me to soften the shadow, so I did that.
Oh yeah, right there.
Mm-hmm.
How much better that looks?
Mm-hmm.
That looks great.
I just used a gradient tool to do it.
Yeah.
And also rounded out the bottom of the teacup.
Boy, that teacup looks really good. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you happy with it?
I am.
Good. The only thing I might do is just roll maybe just barely a little bit of shadow across this, a little bit, really low.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, another thing you could do here, you might be able to put a really light texture on the pancakes or whatever.
Okay.
just kind of random, right? And pull it back. Don't make it stick out that much. Just pull it way back. And it's just got a little bit of texture on there. Yeah?
Okay. I can mess around with the brushes you gave us.
Good. It's good. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you know, and here's the other thing. I can sit here and I can go, well, you should try this, you try that. At some point, it's like, okay, we're done. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Thank you.
Hang on a minute. I want to look at something here. So I'm going to look. Here's one thing you could do on this to make it easy. I might go to my, I just pulled off a copy of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I go to Pathfinder, Unite, boom, okay? So now I'm going to go, shit, I don't think it loaded here. Hang on. I'm going to go to Brushes, Open Brush Library, Other Library, Gouache, oh, Gouache. Where are they? There they are. So now I'm going to take this. I'm just going to go, I want to take a warm value here. And I'm going to go, now we're into, again, our brushes again. I'm going to flip this so I've got the line, and then I'm going to go to my gouache brushes. There we go. So that's a nice light texture.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I'll go pretty big on it. Hang on. So now, oops, now I've got a line. I have to get here and reselect it. There we go. Now I'm going to go boom, boom. Maybe I could go that big. Maybe there. So then I'm going to go to my transparency. Again, play around with my overlays. Disappears. Multiply. There's got to be a hotkey in Illustrator. I know it in Photoshop, but it doesn't have to be darker. It might be lighter.
Mm-hmm.
That's not bad either. That's pretty subtle. So then I'm going to bring this back in front. Select both, clipping mask, make. Now I've got a contain texture. Now I'd have to put it in, you know, underneath in the right order.
Mm-hmm.
See, it disappears there. So now I got to go, how do I get it to show up here? Oh, that's weird. Where do my tools go? Oh, wait a minute. By the way, if you hit tab, all your stuff will disappear. It's just nice if you want to get everything out of your way and look at your work, but sometimes you'll accidentally hit it and then you, oh, where do my tools go? It's tab, okay? Then I'm going to go, okay, maybe it's just an overlay thing here. Oh, now I'm going to double click this again. And let's try this one. And I'll just try some new textures. You can see it picks it up on the color here. See that?
Yeah.
But I could create a texture that way is all I'm trying to say.
Okay.
And it's up to you how you want to do it. You know, if I wanted to retro this all out, I might put some of those printmaking mark things on there real subtly, like it was printed. And then I might do some halftoning on there so it starts to look like a retro printed thing. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like they do a lot of this. This is a good place to look for some of the things that I just gave you if you want to get ideas. Look. They're getting all these fun, let's see, all these fun old techniques, right? Get out of here. See that? See these? It's kind of the stuff I gave you, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
Look. These are really nice. So this just gives you some nice examples of how they can be used, right? Not the only way they can be used, but how they can be used. Some of the ways they can be used. And then look at this one. That's great. That's great, right?
That one looks cool.
And then if we go here, go to brushes. Here, this one. This gives you some really nice ideas for the Grave Etcher ones that I gave you. And by the way, that it has this. There's like 2 files in there. It has it, and you can take this apart and see how he used clipping or she used clipping masks in here. Yeah, to create this. So it kind of gives you an idea of how to use them. The vector tone ones in there. And sometimes I'll have some of these old kits around. I forget what I'll go there and just look and get some ideas. Yeah, Josh Borgia. Yeah, right on.
I ended up changing the sky color a little bit, but I haven't uploaded that one. I just changed it not too long ago.
Okay, so you're using, what are you using for texture now?
I use
that's the actual
the brush set. Yeah.
See how it starts to keep giving it more and more dimension?
Yeah.
And now you're getting into where this is feeling like a very finished illustration, right?
Right.
You know what it could be really? This could be a really cool like game box.
Oh yeah.
For like a game.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, if you build a portfolio like that, I'm like, and then you go after. You could start doing that now if you built like 10, build a portfolio of this kind of stuff. And it all has a point of view and everything. And you go after like, what would this be good for? Oh, the gaming, and I mean like board games and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then you go, where else? I don't know. I just find markets for it, and then I make a list, and I start contacting or sending samples or whatever, right?
Right. It'd be fun.
Yeah. This one here. Here, I'm not sure if this will work or not. Is it locked?
Yeah, very locked.
How dare you? There it is. I'm going to see if I could soften this a little bit. There's a couple things I could do here. I don't like to always go to blur. I don't like to always go to gradient. I like to use things where they make sense. You see these things, not just with Illustrator, just even hand drawn or whatever. When they're just.
I have two layers for that, for like the dust cloud. One's like a blur on top, so I don't know which one you're actually.
You could soften it. Another thing I might try. I think you could get a little softer edge. Hang on. Why is that not letting me do that?
Everything's locked in.
Oh, I knew that.
It keeps locking.
Why is he doing that? Come on. Oh, there we go. Another thing I might just try in there somewhere. Just going to give it a warmer. Let's try a warmer thing. There's a couple ways I could do this. So let's try this. Go back to here. Only I want a warmer thing. There we go. Now I'm going to go, maybe I'll go the other way with it. I feel like it needs to be a bigger statement. So let's try a bigger statement here. Like that. I'm going to bring this on top. Come on. That got, that's probably fine. It's weird. It's normal, so I don't know why it's. Oh, it's a multiply. So I might take the dust from the top down this way.
Yeah, that's cool.
And that way it sort of visually softens it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And I could even pull some of this. Now let's see if we could do this. I think we did this last time. Let's get rid of the clipping mask for now. Path or clipping mask, release. I still want to hold on to that. I'm probably going to use it. So I'm going to give it a line around it so I can see it. There. And I'm going to go here and go path, outline, stroke. Oops. Path, outline, stroke. Boom. Now I've got this orange, so let's go. Let's go. I always start with my default, whatever you call it. God, I hate it when it does that, when it loses the attenuator. I don't get that. And they won't fix it, which drives me crazy. Oh, I'm on the line. See, Josh, it's your fault. All right, so let's go back to Swatches here. And of course, it's still not giving me my attenuator, which is really cool. So I'm going to try and go maybe this way. That's a little weird. It's hard to do without the attenuator there. But let's pull up this. At least I can see it here. I'm literally getting nonstop emails all day today. It's annoying. Okay, so let's go here. Let's go here, 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 here to 0. Because then I could start to go, maybe break that edge a little bit, and I could take it and fade it at the bottom. Let's see which way it's going. Yeah, I think it is. So then I could even break the edges so I'm not containing the edges and just start to get me some nice little texture going and then have it go color. Let's see. Oops. That way it's going from the bottom up. This way it's going to go from the top down. So this is just like your gradient bar, attenuator bar, but you know, it's over here. So let's go there and try that. And that's starting to work a little bit. So I'm going to take it here and go see if I can fade it. God, this thing's doing some weird stuff. I actually think it went the other way. That's weird. Let's try this again. That's not too bad. So now that it's a shape, I could go from a color and then have it fade out like dust does, right? That makes sense?
Okay. Yeah.
Well, it softens things up a little bit, and then I could go, maybe that's a little hard. So maybe I'll just come in here and go back to transparency, knock it down a little bit. Maybe I want a little more. That's not too bad. And I put a little over here because I want to get all that dusty, crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yes. Yeah, that's cool. I'll definitely add that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What happened to Josh?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
There's something connected here. I think that's screwing it up. Hang on.
Sorry, I couldn't hear what you said.
Oh, that was Siri. My personal assistant. Kind of important, you guys. I have a personal assistant and everything. Somehow this got tangled up with the mask. I don't know how. Oh, that's cool. Well, that's weird. So look, now I got this little thing. Anyway, you can go text her crazy, but you want to be strategic about it and be smart about it. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'll take this one from here. You did all the hard part. Now I want to play with it and screw around with it.
Go for it.
All right. Any questions?
No.
Oh, so Josh knows everything. Okay, I see how it is.
Mm-hmm.
I do that in classes sometimes, like semi-seriously, and I go, "Oh, so you guys know everything?" And everybody starts trying to ask questions. It just means you're understanding.
Hey, Mike, the professor that you were talking about, your old professor, that was Gary Meyer?
Meyer, yeah.
Yeah, so they did a nice little write-up on him at Kotaku.
On what?
Kotaku, the website.
Oh, I didn't know that. Can you send that to me?
Yeah. I'll send it over.
What's bothering me is that Art Center's not doing enough about it.
That sucks.
I don't get it.
It's like it's a small thing, but it was pretty cool.
I know, but it's weird. It's like, to me, that's kind of an epic thing.
Yeah.
It's an epic thing. This guy was a big deal. And he really represents something that Art Center has always been known for, pre-digital and all that. And they're still known for it now. But all those old dudes that used to work there, man, that just knew the living shit out of this stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like there's not that many of them left. You know what I mean? And again, it's like one of the reasons that I teach the way I teach, because it's like I believe in that. You know what I mean? Now you have to bring it into the digital world and all that, but just like we're talking about this with folds and all this stuff. Why do I know that? Because I learned that kind of shit from Gary, from guys like him. You know what I mean? Where they taught me all those fundamentals. And then when you throw me into vector, I can still use those same concepts. It makes me a really strong designer and illustrator, especially in nowadays where everybody's just relying on the software and not understanding any of the fundamentals.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so that's how strategic folds in clothing. If you have you just sent it to me. If you have what we're talking about here, where like dust maybe fading out and even in this with vector, you see everybody, they tend to stick to this very flat, which is cool. I like that too. The super flat look is cool. But I think a lot of times they don't really know how to build it into a more interesting illustration. Does that make sense?
Right.
Why am I getting so many emails?
Mr. Popular.
No, it's not that. Mr. Stupid volunteered for a bunch of stuff and he shouldn't have. Whatever. Okay. All right, Josh. This looks great, man.
Oh, thank you.
I'm going to take this. Wow, it broke. Somehow I broke this up into pieces. I don't know how I did that, but it's actually kind of cool. Because look at that. Now I can just kind of add them where I want them because I got these little puffs. You know what I mean?
Did it break it up because it was a shape?
I did something funky. It doesn't usually do that. But I just did something funky. But I actually like this better because now I can sort of really hyper place them. I could even stack one on top of the other and get a thicker section like that.
Yeah.
Like here, I could take this and flatten it a little bit. I actually like that better because I can really, and probably you could do the same thing, just make a little, just make that and then just move it around. That's actually a better way to work right now. And then look, it's fading out anyway back here. And then I like this heavy right here because it feels like that's where his foot came down. Started going up and it dissipates, right?
Yeah.
Put a little here. Like I like obscuring, like where things hit the ground and things, because like where your feet hit the ground, they don't just land like that foot is right there. They're gonna, especially a monster this big or whatever. So I might go, and I think sometimes people think getting in the weeds on this. I don't think I am. I think this is just good. So I might sample this ground color. Well, it's got a thing in it. Let's say I just sample that color and put another, it's fine. I can go up here. I'm going to get this. And I'd probably just, make where his foot hits the ground a little more irregular. With the grounds coming up and covering it over a little bit. Does that make sense? Like that maybe. That's too much. And then I'd have to smooth this out. And I might do it with a really tight gouache brush or something just to break it up at the bottom. Like I don't like that so far. So I might take something. Oops. God damn it. There we go. Come on. I might just take a texture brush down here, get the right color, and just kind of bring it up over his foot a little bit. So it looks like he's stepping into, like if you're on grass, the grass would be under your feet and all that kind of stuff. And it breaks up the transition from this to this. You really got to think about those transitions, if they're standing in grass, because I see people all the time, and like, especially with vector, you're standing in grass and the foot's just a hard edge. And it's like, well, how's that going to happen? They're going to sink into the grass a little bit. And there's going to be some blades of grass in front of the foot, right? Now think about those things, right? Because I think those transition things are one of the things with something like this, with illustration or whatever, that really starts to separate it. It's all those small decisions after you make the big decisions that really start to separate, the really pro shit from the not pro stuff, right? That's the way I see it, right?
Yeah. That makes sense.
And I would change these down here to the color around it, to the ground color. Now, right now it's a gradient, so I don't know if that'll work. Yeah, it works all right. So on and so forth. Is this fire back here?
Yeah. It's supposed to be kind of just like.
Okay, so that's a really good place where you sort of figure out, graphically how you want to handle it. So, okay, so let's see. So it's light back there, which is good. I might go, let's see if I can go. And then I'm going to go to appearance. View or window appearance. And I'm going to go, I want to get rid of this blur for now. So I select it, hit the trash button because I want to control this a little bit. So I want to go hot. And I can do sort of randomly. Hotter. And that might be enough. And I'm going to put one more in here. And I'm half-assing this. You get that, right?
Right.
And then I'm going to go, this guy's got to get a little hotter. And let's see if I can just make that work first. There's a million ways to do this, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on. Am I not getting this one? No, I wasn't. You know, and I might be able to. What layer is that on? Is there a layer for it?
There should be.
Yeah, there it is. Background. And I'm probably going to try and get, now I want to get, that's weird, hang on. Oh, it's probably on a, behind a, something, you know. Yeah, because I got quite a bit of light in there. But even there, see, I've got a little more active light in there.
Yeah.
Because it goes light or goes point source. That's the source of the light, right?
Yeah.
Then it drops off. So if you think of it as, I always think of it as hot, hot, hotter, right? With warm light. So if I go, the best way I can show you is this real quick. I'll just do it in Photoshop real quick. But you can use the same technique in Illustrator. Okay. I'm going to go find a blue, because it'll work nice against a blue in this case. Too intense. I'm going to go knock this down. Good enough. Okay. Okay, go. And I'll do this real simply. So if I have a flame, let's go here. And I'm going to get a different brush. And all I'm talking about here is the concept of this. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So let's say that's my, and I'm using a real saturated color right now. I get it. And now I'm going to go here. Go back to brush. Now I'm just going to jump in here and go, okay, here's a little more orangey. Let's try that. Probably go a little lighter. And so you're already starting to get a little bit of a flame light kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to go in here and go. So what's yellow is light and light in value, correct?
Yeah.
Intense, right? Then it goes to a little bit of orange. That's a little less yellow. And then it goes to red, which is starting to it's starting to fall off in like temperature and intensity. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So let's go this guy and go, let's pull him up right there. I want to keep everything warm. You know, and then if I just come in here and shape out my flame, see how I start to get a pretty nice flame going on?
Yeah.
And then I can go, I'm going to sample this. I'll pop a little over here because, you know, it gets pretty random. And then the last little phase of it, is I'll take some of this. I'll put a couple of embers popping off of it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I can usually find a place to put a little blue in there. And if I really want to get intense with it, like if this is an incandescent bulb, then, and even sometimes with the flame I can get it, but like I might put a real hot spot right there, like right there. See that?
Yeah.
Now you got a campfire or whatever, tiki torch, whatever. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah.
Hot, hot, hotter. Yellow is intense, orange is less, red is much less. And red goes down in value a lot too, by the way. And then make sure you put the embers on it because it's going to kick off embers. If it's an open flame like that, it's going to kick off embers. Or if you're doing a spotlight, those old searchlight spotlights,
mm-hmm.
the key to that is when you're showing it going towards where it's coming out of if you're close enough, coming out of that spotlight, it will intensely light up all the dust particles in the air.
Mm.
You just go right there, just like bright white or whatever. And because that's what it does. That is an incredibly intense light. Those searchlights. I think they're illegal now because I never see them anymore. But every time a car dealership would open or something, when I was a kid, they'd sweep them across the sky. It was really cool. It was super dramatic. You sweep them across the sky. I'm assuming they're illegal now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you're flying a plane, it's probably like, holy shit. I mean, because they're super bright, right? Like if you look directly into that thing, it probably blinds you instantly. But they were really cool looking. Okay, did I go enough down the rabbit hole on that?
Yeah, I think so.
But I think it's important. Am I wrong?
Yeah, it makes sense.
I don't want to just go, here's Illustrator. I want to go, here's, all the other things that go along with using Illustrator or Photoshop or Paint or whatever.
Right.
I want you guys to have advantages. I want you guys to go kick the shit out of everybody else in everybody else's class.
Oh, we will.
Good.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay, man. Nice job, man.
Thank you.
Developing a style. Where's that coming from, by the way?
Where's what?
The style. It's interesting. You've been developing a style for a while, and it feels very natural. It feels very organic.
Yeah.
Is it just happening?
Read a lot of like comics.
Oh, okay.
Watch a lot of shows. Like I've been picking up a lot of like art books and stuff.
Well, what's nice about it is it doesn't feel fanish.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel. I just saw something today. I showed it to my girlfriend. I go, it was on Instagram. It was a student. I go, I absolutely hate this crap. You know what I mean? It was just another one of those stupid warrior, whatever, some dumb shit character. And it's like, here's my character. And it's like, it's not your character. It's just a cliche, dude. That's not a character. By the way, the pose has no contrapposto, no personality, no movement. It's just standing. It's like, you've been at this too long, dude, to still be doing that, which tells me all you care about is fan crap. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Be your own damn designer. Have your own point of view. Unless you just want to be a wrist and somebody pulls you in and goes, do character art for our style guide. If you want to do that and you can draw good enough to do that and you like doing that, that's cool. But if you think you're going to do concept and you do shit like that and you don't have any point of view, forget it. Like, why would I hire you for concept if you have no point of view?
Mm-hmm.
And when I say concept, I don't just mean concept art. I mean, if you go into package design, you don't want to be there's tons of people like in package design or fashion design or any of that stuff where it's like, you're a production person. All of us over here do all the creative work. Then we hand it to you and go, make it so the factory can print it.
Right.
Make it so the factory can do this. Make it so the factory can do that. And then you're a production person. You really have no say-so on any of the creative whatsoever, right?
Mm-hmm.
A whole bunch of other people are doing that. Because it's like, you don't have creative chops. You don't have interesting ideas, so we'll put you over here. But you're real good at Photoshop and you're real good at Illustrator and you understand color separation and all that kind of stuff. So we'll put you over here. I wouldn't want to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you don't have a point of view, that's what happens.
It's true.
Or even if they go, hey man, here's an existing character. Can you draw it? I want to do a cool t-shirt or something, you get hired as an illustrator. Then you give them this stiff, weird thing. They're immediately going to go, dude, really? This isn't dynamic. This is boring. And it's like the anatomy's weird, you know, all that stuff.
Right.
Kayla.
Yes.
What happened? Ignore. There we go. Yeah, okay, good. I do a little more fleshing out up here of these people. Like, how do you want to stylize them?
Okay. Yeah, I was having trouble like figuring out how to simplify it, and especially with like the color palette, because originally I had it just monochromatic, but
I mean,
wasn't
there's
sure
a
if
lot
it
of ways
was...
to look at this, and you know, we've talked about this guy before, but he has a very definite point of view on simplification. So let's go here. And also, trying to think of other people. You know, these people of his are really simplified. And these are up close, so it's a little different. You know, but he's got a real point of view on how he's stylizing those people, right?
Yeah.
And you got to remember yours are further away. So you're not going to see it. They're not as important, right?
Right.
So like one thing, I mean, there's like little things. Like I might, and when I say this stuff, I'm not really talking about anatomy. I'm just using anatomy points to sort of give me just a little bit of interesting shapes. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Then maybe I'm going, he's catching light, just like the cloud is.
Right.
And maybe I'm going to put, and usually I'll just pencil these out like really fast. And then maybe because I don't want to make these too important because they're really not, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm going to put this other arm here because this is, you know, it's sunlit lighting, right?
Right.
And then I might just go, let's see. I can't really see what I'm doing here, but I'm going to hope I'm okay. Oops. I want to combine this ear with the head. Then I'm just going to take, oops. Actually, I'm just going to take this. I'm going to try an overlay. I got the same color. I'm going to go transparency. Multiply. And then what I'm going to do here is maybe just put some of these shadow values that define the face, but really graphically. Oops, where'd that go? Maybe a little here, maybe. Might not like that one there. I think it might be too specific. So I don't really want it to be specific. Let's see what it looks like from a distance. Yeah, that's not too bad. So I might tweak this a little bit. I think it's too hard edged. Even though you're really not going to see it, to be honest. Or I might even pull this in all the way over to here. Put a little hint of the mouth here. Have it follow down here. Combine it with this shape. Yeah, that's better. So see how we're just graphically blocking in the face?
Yeah.
And keeping it real Keeping it real. Josh. I'm going to combine this whole face thing. Do that again. Then I'm going to go, let's just do it this way. Do that. I'm just going to do the divide filter here. Get it all back to overlay again. Because it keeps, when I change it, it switches back to a regular layer. Transparency. Multiply. Oops, that's too much. I don't want that. So I probably have to just do it this way. God damn it. It's doing something weird. Hang on. What are you doing? Let's go.
Is it because it's in a multiplier layer, maybe?
I don't think so, but I'll check in a minute. So this has got an overlap. It might be this. See that overlap?
Yeah.
It probably doesn't like that. It's having a hard time reading it. So let's go and lock this. So that's me being sloppy. I want to make sure this is connected here now. Let's see. I think it's the way I built it. You know, well, that's annoying. Let's go to Y. So we got a preview. I'm going to really zoom in on that. And go, is this connected? It is. It's weird. I'm going to try something here. Wait a minute. There. Now, convert it to this. Oops. It's really being stubborn, this thing. I don't know why it's not picking that up. That's fine. Screw it. I got it. And then put this here, you know, and then these things have to go on top. I pull this off so it breaks that edge. Because you want nice overlap. And then here, I might even shape this out a little more, so it feels a little more natural. It's going to be hard for me to do it here, but. Now you can also keep it really super graphic like that, and that's fine too. You know, and then I'd figure out some solution for this hand shape. You want to keep that simple. I'm going to really overdo it here. Why is this nothing filling? It's weird.
It might be on a separate layer.
Oh, well, it should fill, though. It still should do it. Hang on. I'm going to grab this. X, Y. Now let's go. V. Oh, there it goes. So it's behind something, I think. You know, and I actually don't mind it being so sharp. I'd probably round off this finger. See how it's getting a little more interesting? But it's not overdoing it. Like, you don't want to go in there and like, this is another thing people do is they'll go and start drawing a really, I don't know, life drawing-y face. And then that's going to look weird too, right?
Yeah. You
got to find a balance between your shapes and your whatever, right? And then maybe, because I got this super cool lighting here, I might go, let's combine this again. And then I'm just going to do it. I'm going to cut this. I'm going to use my scissors and cut it right about there to maybe, you're going to lose it there anyway. So to there. Get rid of all this. And then go get this warm. Flip it to a line, thin it out. Oops. A little more. Let's try that. And, you know, I could come back in here now. This would have to go underneath this kid. Is this an amputee cruise?
I guess so.
So I'm going to thin this out up there because I don't like it to just do its own thing. Maybe I'll pull it here a little bit. And now I'm starting to get him getting a little edge light from this over here.
Right.
So then that starts to help, you know, and I might even do it a little here maybe. I could even probably cheat this and go, even though it doesn't, theoretically it doesn't make sense, and make it a little hotter maybe. It's actually fine. Yeah. You know, and then I go, okay, well now maybe I can do the same thing here. And I could just use this as a starting point also, but I'm just going to freehand it. And then I finesse this line. Let's go X, let's go way up here. It's going to go in front of stuff, but that's okay. I put it on the right layer. Because now, and this isn't lining up, that's why I would probably choose the line that's already there. Let's go, boom. Let's fix that. Might go a little thicker on this one. And then again, I'd probably adjust it with my width tool a little bit. So now, see how that starts to light it up and feel like sunsetty?
Yeah.
And then I start going, okay, because I love doing this. I love tracking the light all over the place. Hang on, let's make sure all this stuff's locked. Now I'm going to take the same idea now and go, well, I can put that probably here. And I know I'm being sloppy. I could probably even get away with it here. Or, let's see. Yeah, I could get away with it there, but I could also maybe, probably not going to have a damn attenuator here, but oh well. I'd line that up better. And then I'm going to go get rid of that and that. And go here, and go here, and go here. There it is again. It's so weird. Go down here, change this to white again. Go to Seto. So now I probably wouldn't need this line here. Because now it's reflecting a little bit of it off of there. So what am I doing? I got a light source. I'm going to bounce it around, right? Mm-hmm. Especially in this case, it's golden, right? So it's going to look really nice.
Cool.
I might dance a little bit of that in here maybe if I can get it. Because it's greenish. It's starting to feel pretty good. Okay, I might play around up here with the clouds.
Yeah, I still want to add more textures and
yeah, I think
put the reflection light under the dolphins still.
You guys can see how much texture adds to this idea, right? Mm-hmm. It adds a lot. Okay. Okay. Any questions?
Yeah, random question. What's the difference between the outline stroke and the create outlines? Is that the same thing?
Create outlines is for type.
For type, okay.
Yeah. So if I have a word and I want to just turn it into a shape, you go to type, create outlines.
Okay, cool.
If you're doing pass, you go object, path, outline, stroke. So that's for stroke. The other one's for type.
Okay, perfect.
And also a lot of times you'll just outline the type when you send it to a client. So you don't have to worry about the fonts and all that. And for me, I don't want them screwing my stuff. So if I outline the type and then, you know, I tangle up all the line work. I have all the line work on one layer. It's all that nice, thin, thick line work. Create an outline stroke on all of that. Select all of it, hit unite. All of it unites. Like trying to adjust that line work after that is a pain in the ass. And I set up everything like that where it's like, you want to mess with my shit? You're going to have to work pretty hard to do it. You know? And then sometimes they come to you and go, and if it's somebody who I know doesn't know any better, and you shouldn't do this, but if it's somebody I know who doesn't know any better, then they go, hey, we want to be able to adjust it. And I know there's nobody over there that knows what they're doing. I go, that's the working file. I sent you the layers. And they don't know that I've done all that stuff because they don't know what outline stroke is and all that. They don't know. And I go, I sent you an editable file. It's a layer. See how there's like 5 layers in there? That's what it is. And I've actually reduced a bunch of layers down as little as I can. And by the way, I don't usually give them 5 layers. I combine everything on the same layer. So now it's a big tangled mess on one layer, right? Now it's just the background and, you know, and I've reduced a lot of things, but I flatten it and then my line work's all combined and I kind of combine all my shapes and I group everything and it's really hard to manipulate, right? Otherwise, their nephew who's really talented will start screwing with your stuff. It makes me insane. Anyway, what else?
I was trying to figure out how to stretch the whale watching. I was using the arch to shape it along the boat. But I was wondering if there's a way to like individually stretch the letters to make it feel like it's on the form. Because to me, it feels like it's.
You know what I might do? I might just try it. I might take it into Photoshop and use the warp tool, stuff like that in there.
Okay.
And then bring it back in and maybe image trace it. Or you want to be able to, one thing I think, like one thing with this that, so you got to like tweak it.
Like I expanded the appearance and I was thinking of just making it an outline and then just individually stretching some of the letters.
It's coming towards us. So one simple thing I might be able to do, and I don't know until I try it. Hang on. I'd be able to grab this and then go to this tool, grab this end, and make that a little bigger as it comes towards me.
Yeah.
That's going to help it a lot just with the perspective. And then I don't know if this will work. If I can subtly start to mess with it. What the hell? That's weird. Hang on. Oh, I know why it's doing this, because it's already in perspective or whatever. So maybe, what about this? Let's try this. So I can kind of manipulate it a little bit here.
Okay.
So you're gonna probably have to kind of come in and subtly, that's too much, and subtly tweak it, right?
Which one was that one?
That was Effect, Distort and Transform, Free Distort. It's this ones we talked about before that has pucker and bloat and roughen and transform. They're just all things that just do like a very specific, you know, suck it in, blow it out, you know, whatever you call that, zigzag, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Okay, does that all make sense?
Yeah, I'm good with that. I'll just gotta keep working on it. But thank you.
You guys getting into it? Yeah, no?
Yeah, of course.
I think it's fun. Oh, another thing, look. Because I think he does it. Yeah, here's a good one. I really like the way he stylizes like things like flame. Now here's just using the old flame job thing, right? Look at this. Look at these tiki torches, right? Look at this back here. And then look how he's just got this base thing, just like we're talking about. And then he's reflecting some light off the, whatever it is, the down facing, up facing planes, whatever it is, right?
Right.
It's very simple. And he does a lot of clever little things for things like flames and stuff like that. He'll do this little weird serrated edge thing and then do another edge right inside of it. Just like I said, he'll go hot, hot, hotter, same thing. Except he does it super graphically. That's a fun way to handle it too. Wait a minute, did I get? There we go. Okay. So yeah, I think you guys are easily on track to finish these on Wednesday. How did I just quit Illustrator? I got to start getting snacks for in here. I get hungry in here. Snacky snacks, Jake or Josh.
We're all hungry.
Go that reference. Where you at? You here?
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think?
Still working on it. I smoothed out some lines and stuff, but I want to make it kind of like a minimal-ish design with like texture.
I love that.
Yeah, but it might take. I mean, I'll have something by
a little
Wednesday,
more
but I
time.
don't think it's gonna be.
If you need a little more, any of you guys, if you need a little more time, that doesn't mean just screw off and don't do it. I want you to work through this process. I don't want to just cut things off. I want you to explore. I want you to try things. I want you to go for it. I want you to push yourself. If you need a little more breathing room, I'm cool. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. So we'll say, yeah, it's Wednesday, but if you want to take a little, and by the way, wherever you're at, if you want to push it further, just hand it in. And then you can just keep tweaking it and I'll up your grade when you hand it back in, as long as you hand it in on time. Okay. So everything in here is more or less an open-ended project. I want it done on the day, but you know, you're going to have everybody right now is getting to places where I could call them done pretty easily. Just some mechanics class. If you're going over and above, like a lot of you are, I think most of you are, and you're pushing your design and everything, then you're actually giving me way more than I'm asking for. Okay. Because you're pushing the design, you're pushing your skill set and all that kind of stuff. So that's over and above what I'm asking for in here. I'm asking for like, hey, you know how to use this, you're using it, you're doing a good job with it. Cool. But if you start making great looking stuff, then I want to give you more than 100 points. I can't because I don't have any more than 100 points, but you know. But it looks, I love that you're tackling this, and I think that looks really good.
Thanks.
Any questions?
Not right now.
Got it. Yeah, just keep going and then we'll talk. I love the way you're starting to do this here. And always remember that thing where some of the top part is getting revealed above the water a little bit, right? I think that's going to be a real key thing.
Yeah.
Which might literally just having little holes in that top layer of blue and then the rest of the layer is like some sort of overlay. And then the little warmth's popping out and it's reducing everything to you know, a cooler value or whatever, or a cooler color. Right on. And I like that you're doing the Aquarium of the Pacific. I love that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you guys are pushing it into area, like you're picking fun things to do as far as the business or whatever. Okay. And you know what? Hang on a sec. I think they might be on here. Because they used to have them up as banners. They used to have these really cool banners up at the LEZ that were really cool. And they were all vector. Yeah, I'll see. Shit, I just had another one in my head. Oh. Shit, why can I not find this? Yeah, I'll find it later. Okay. I don't have the font, so. Make sure you package it so I have the fonts, yeah?
Yeah, I forgot to do that.
It's all right. Okay, this is better. This is much more organized.
Okay, cool.
And now over here, I design out that fire a little more.
Okay.
And then make sure these are in perspective.
Okay.
Because they're going to be more. And I don't care if they're like perfectly in perspective. You could do a style where they're not. They're going to lean a little more like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying.
And then I might go lock this. And then go here, bring this to the front. It's too big a crack back there. Hang on. Ah. Come on, man. There we go. A little bit of that. Now I'm going to bring this. Come on. Why is it doing that? Oh. I'm going to grab this. X. I'm going to make a new layer here. So is this? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I'm going to go here. I'm just going to put a new layer here. I'm going to put this here. That way I can work on it a little bit easier. Then I'm going to go. I'm going to take a paler version of this. Kind of desaturate it. Making sure it's on top. Now, let's see if we can just do this. I'm going to go up here to the filter. I'm going to go to Effect, Transform. Let's just try roughen a little bit. Too much. Too much. So let's go now. I don't want it absolute. I want it relative. Smooth. I want it smooth. I just want to screw it up a little.
Okay.
There. See how it's just a little bit?
Yeah.
Not perfect. Okay, and then I'm going to go bring this down. You know, I get rid of that little point right there. There. And then I'm going to come in here maybe and go. Now I could also maybe do this with the swirl tool, maybe. I don't want it too perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm going to go get rid of this, get rid of that. Well, let's go. Let's try a little darker. Then I'm going to thin this out. I don't want to be too random with it. Then when we go to my smooth tool, kind of fix a few things here. Then I'm going to go in here because you want everything to feel finished. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm going to pinch that in. That's too much. I want to pinch this in. And then pinch this in. And then I'm going to go like maybe here. That's probably okay. So now we got that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to go in here and pick this color again, switch it to the line. Oops, shit. Let's just do it this way. Go back to my pen tool. Pen tool. Same drill. Go to my width tool. Not too bad. And then, you know, maybe I can do one. It has a knot in it. You know, I'm thinking really stylized, obviously, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to drop this weight down back to here again. I don't like that little kink right there, so I'm going to try and get rid of that. That's a little better. That's better. Then I'm going to go to my width tool. That's good for that. And, you know, and start to build me a log, right?
Yeah.
I want to do one more thing here. Maybe if it was sitting out here, you're going to have it over here. But if it was sitting in here, I might go back to where that went. Oh, wait, I didn't have it in here. Hang on. I mean, there's a couple different things I could use here. I could do this one. Let's try this. Come on. There's there. And then let's go one more. Yeah. I'm going to try this one first. Just get some bounce light from the ground, maybe. Maybe go a little denser. No. No. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. See if I can knock this down a little bit. No. I'm going to have to go. No. Might be able to use that for my flame, though. Maybe here. over to transparency. That's not too bad. Then I want to take this again, move it, put it on top, bring it down here, line it up a little bit. And now we're starting to get a log, right?
Yeah.
Another thing I could do now is I could take this color and I could break this part now. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
You know how it breaks into the, into the main thing like that?
Yeah.
I don't like that shape, so I'd probably readjust it. I don't like how sharp it is. Might be a little too big. I mean, it's half-assed, but it's a fast one, but you get the point, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm constantly reinterpreting graphically, things, right? Yeah?
Yes, sir.
And then I'm probably going to try and figure out a way to go, how can I do this where I don't have to redo it 100 times? Is there a way that I can stylize this fire maybe? And sometimes there isn't, sometimes there isn't. Like if I put this one here, that's still okay. And then maybe I just I take this one. I want to ungrupo. God damn it, I want that. That, and that. I'm going to group these. Then let's say I put this one here. And since this one's facing towards me a little more, I'll pull it out a little more that way. And then I should be able to, and then maybe I might even be able to get away with this. Where I just kind of obscure this a little bit. And then when I take whatever I'm going to do for my stylized flame, it's going to obscure most of this anyway, so it doesn't even matter, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's go here. Let's go. I don't want it that. I want it this. Let's go here. Boom. Let's change this to more yellow. I want it a warm yellow. Yeah, that's fine. No, actually, I'm going to go swatches. This is going to be reddish. And I'd have to adjust that color. I'd also have to come in here and adjust my flame here.
Yeah, like with the smooth tool.
Yeah, I'd use a smooth tool, but I'd also be way more careful when I was creating it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just doing it as fast as I can, kind of.
No, yeah, I understand.
Because I'm trying to find a stylization for it. Now, another thing I want to do here is maybe I'll take this one here, just this little part, and I'll put this in front. Oops. Now I got that. Let's move this so I'm seeing it independent of everything else. And I would have to come in here and balance out my shapes because I'm not happy with these shapes yet. And I would have done that from the beginning. But let's just say these shapes are okay, even though they're not. But some sort of stylized shape. And then I'm going to go, I'm going to make it a little fatter. Yeah, like that. I would make it a little fatter in spots. Like, I don't like this bulge right here. It's weird. Well, now it's on snap to grid, I bet you. Snap to grid, I don't like that. So let's smooth this out a little bit. And I'd get this somewhere where I could tolerate it. And now I'm going to go, maybe I'll even do this. and flip it. Go to my reflect, hold down Option, drag, flip it around. Yeah, that's better. Now, maybe it doesn't need to be flipped. Let's try it this way. Yeah. Sometimes I can really get away with it. Sometimes I can't. So let's just leave it there. So now I'm going to go here, object, path, offset path. Now I want to go negative. So let's go negative 3 points. Preview. Not bad. So now we're going to do exactly what we just did in Photoshop.
That's cool.
And then I can go a little lighter. I don't want to go too much yet. Then I want to take this shape now and go object, path, offset path. Let's try 2 points. Negative 2 point preview, not bad. So let's go to this warm, we want a warm, you know, and I can start creating a stylized flame.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
You know, and I would design that flame a lot better. But let's go transparency. Then, you know, maybe I just take this whole thing. I don't usually do this. Or maybe I'll just take, let's try this. Let's go, let's just try a little bit. Because I don't like to blur things too much. I would actually design this so it looked cool. Well, you know, I could get it just a little fuzzy, maybe. I don't know. I would design it better. That's all I would do. And then maybe I go let's leave that, and then let's go here. And let's go here. Here, here, here. Yeah. Oops. I want to get rid of this fill. Yeah, that's better. Oops. This weird thing that you're not understanding what it's doing. I did something weird with the shape. I don't know what. That's good. That's good. And then maybe this color is more. Nah, I don't like that. Let's go back. Let's go here. Let's say it's more. Yeah, more. Okay. And then I can get this little glow around the fireplace. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right? And I only made one log, and knowing they look enough that the fire is going to obscure some of it, right? And I would have spent, 10, 15 minutes on that flame or however long it takes. I would have actually designed it so it looked cool. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know what you're doing?
Yeah. Add more texture and like
Huh?
Yeah, add more texture to stuff, and then you add the log and other stuff.
Yeah. Just always think design, right?
Design and perspective. Okay.
Yeah, design, all that, man. It's all your fundamental tools. I know I'm a broken record, but I can't help it. I can't help it. And then let's see. Oh yeah, okay. Do I have the fonts? You guys got to start packaging these things.
Yeah, I forgot to package it.
So now I'm a client and I'm like, where's the fonts? And I'm on the phone. I just called you. And you're like, oh shit, it's that asshole Mike Sheehan calling me. And then you answer the phone and I go, where's my fonts? Really, dude? I don't have time for this. That's what you're going to hear. Okay. I get these to be more leafy.
More leafy? Okay.
And then I think this here. See if I can do this. Then we'll go over them again on Wednesday a little bit, so we'll have a little more time to play around.
Okay.
Just get them in on time. That's all I care about. I'd say this coffee cup could be more important.
Okay, make it bigger, and then
yeah.
How would you make the leaves like look more leafy? Because
I get me a leaf shape.
Okay.
Because right now they're feeling a little textury. It's not bad for them to sort of go into texture. Where you really see a leaf shape, where you're really giving the viewer the information, is where it breaks the silhouette.
Okay.
Okay. So around the edges, you give them some leaf shapes, and then they can become a little more abstract and textural, but you got to give them some of those leaf edges so they see them. Right?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like this, look. I mean, this is drawing, but same thing. Let me turn the sound off of this. All right. Okay, it's off. It only takes a second. Hang on. Okay, so we're starting with a big silhouette, right? And you're going to notice here, I do the exterior is just really, it's where I'm showing you leaf shapes, and then the interior gets to be much more. See, I'm showing you leaf shapes where the light breaks. See that?
Okay, yeah.
And then here on the silhouette out here, right?
Okay, yeah, I see it.
Around that, I got to get some leaf shapes, maybe a few masked inward. And then as they go in, then they can become much more abstract.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. You got any questions?
Nope.
Okay, good. So we'll go over these, we'll curt them on Wednesday, wherever you're at. And then if we have time, we'll start a new thing. And if not, we'll start on Monday. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Or I might even say, hey man, just tweak them out a little more and we'll start something new on Monday.
Okay.
Okay. You guys are doing a really good job. Okay.
Thank you.
Wait. Oops.
Thank you.
All right, you guys. So we know what we're doing. I'll get the video up as quick as I can. So for sure by tomorrow, but I'll try and get it up by today. Okay.
Cool.
All right, you guys. I'll see you on Wednesday. Oh, by the way, one more thing. Look at this guy. Have I showed you this guy? I love this guy. I showed you this guy here. Pablo Lovato? No? Look how he creates these likenesses using, it's Illustrator, obviously, using really simple shapes. Yeah? I mean, he's created a whole thing out of this, right? Look. I love how he abstracts things. Like he uses these halftones here. Let me find some good ones. Robert De Niro. Oop, where'd he go? Right? That's a tricky, man. Try doing that exercise. Like reducing and getting that much of a likeness, that much personality. that much expression just using what he's using. And what's cool about it is sometimes like this right here, looks like he just used a circle or something and just cut it. And then he's using a lot, which is really interesting. He uses a lot of standard filters or shape making tools, but he puts them together so well, it doesn't matter. Right? Wait, it's Lovato, right? Yeah. I always think it's got a B in it for some reason. This is the cool one. Look at the Dylan one. Look. That's the swirl filter. You see it? Or the swirl tool. Straight up. And then this dot thing is just a standard tool, line tool. This is a standard line tool. Standard line tool. Then it all adds up to that. Look, he's even got these pointy shapes. Half the time I'd go like, don't get rid of the pointy shapes, but they look cool, right? Anyway, I just think he's cool. Yeah? Josh?
Yes.
I like making you have to lean forward. All right, you guys. I'll see you on Wednesday. Good job.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, you guys.
See ya.